5, 16, 19, 21, 30, 3 and 10. Check results. You remember?
1, 2, 8. We're back. And we're better. I want you back. Is that the right lyrics? I don't know. I hate the way I've started this already. Hey. And I coughed around it off. That's even better. Why am I shouting? I don't know why I'm shouting. Hope everyone's good. Hope you're good. Hope your day's gone well. Hope you listened to Jack Harlow's album. I hope you liked it. I hope the weather is of your choosing. I was going to say hope it's sunny, but some people like rain. That's fine. It's weird how if you like rain, you're just sort of viewed as you're like a weirdo negative person. We've constituted rain with negativity and sunshine with happiness. And to be fair, apparently there's science on sun actually upping the endorphins in your brain and stuff. But you could be a completely happy person and just love the rain. That's your prerogative. I'm not going to judge you. One thing I actually want to say real quick, because I don't want to forget it. Basketball player. I don't watch the NBA, but I do support a team, but I don't really watch it, so it's not. I don't really support a team. I don't support a team realistically, but my team that I choose to rep, if I had to, gun to my head, who do you support? Why are you asking me this? Do you want to rob me or something? No, tell me what team you support. Why? This is a weird query. In that rare scenario that would never happen, don't rule it out. I would say Brooklyn Nets. Bang. He was a Knicks fan. But yeah, Nets. Do I have to do this bullshit long story again? I wanted a team to support. I was looking for all the teams. I just got NBA for Christmas that time. I was looking for the teams. I knew I wanted a team in New York. I was searching, is there a team in Queens? There isn't. I thought, I kind of want a team in Queens because I felt like if I was in New York, I'd be from Queens. I don't know why. I feel like I rep Queens. There wasn't a team in Queens. So I was looking around. They got the Knicks. I thought the Knicks is too obvious. Everyone supports the Knicks in TV shows growing up because usually the shows would be set in New York and hence they support the Knicks. So I thought, okay, what else? They got the Brooklyn Nets. I looked through their roster on NBA. I liked what I saw. D'Angelo Russell was great. He then left within 8 months, and I thought, well, this is NBA for you. That pretty much the whole team changed. Dinwiddie was gone, LeVert was gone, Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen. And I think Dinwiddie's back now, but it was just wow, this is what I kind of don't like about the sport. However, I can just completely be different like that. Out of players can leave and come and go, but within a year, it was just kind of ridiculous. But anyway, my favourite player has been there since and still remains, as far as I'm aware, Joe Harris. I know it's a weird shout, but that is my favourite player. And I'm a Nets guy. But we're not talking about the Nets. We're not talking about how the Nets and how they foul a lot and how still seen no success for them yet. And I'm not really invested in the sport of basketball. I don't think I've ever watched a game, really. But I check up on the scores and I kind of did the Nets do well? They didn't. Okay, I move on with my life. That's all. We're talking about Milwaukee Bucks. I'm not about Milwaukee Bucks because we're talking about one of their players. I believe he still plays for them. And I believe it's pronounced Giannis. I doubt it's pronounced Giannis. It must be pronounced Giannis, right? And the last name I'm not going to try and attempt. I haven't got it up in front of me, so I can't even sound it out. It's all I know is he's one of the. I was going to say one of the goats. He's not a goat. He's if I was to equate it to football, I'd say he's and not in terms of style of play, because I have no idea how he plays. It's a big guy. You're a big guy. But like a Neymar. So not the Messi Ronaldo level, maybe. Maybe he won't go down as because he's probably not gonna. He's not gonna go down, I think, as with LeBron and Michael Jordan and these people. But he's probably just that rung below. How Neymar is. Neymar's not Messi Ronaldo, but he's just below it. You've got the Neymars, the Gareth Bales, the Eden Hazards for a point of time. Who would be in that rung right now? He's a 28-year-old, 28 to 30-year-old in football who is just in that second rung. I don't want to say Kevin De Bruyne. That's a difficult one. You kind of want to go for someone who's a bit more forward than that. Just like a winger who's everyone knows he's the guy. It's hard. Neymar is the obvious shout right now. So we'll just say Neymar. It's just weird. I don't want to use Neymar because Neymar's this little skillful showboating kind of flary player. I have no idea how Yanis plays basketball, but in my mind, he's just more of a bulldozer just by looking at him. But I have no idea because I don't know how basketball works. But good thing today is this has nothing to do with the actual sport of basketball. It's just his press conference thing where he came out and he said something which really wasn't that controversial. I don't know if it even made any waves in America at all, because in American sports, the less media trends, you can kind of say what you want in press conferences and it's calm. So I don't know if this was just something said by him and the discourse was just amongst like European people, English people. I don't know why I refer to it that way, but yeah, basically they lost the game. I doubt it was just a loss. I know the playoffs happen. Is it called the playoffs? Yeah, the playoffs. So they can get that their ring. It's happening right now. I saw the Nets lost like all 3 games. I think they lost 4 to is it Philadelphia? So I just felt great. First game of the playoffs, they lost all of them. So that was brilliant. And I guess maybe a similar thing happened. Why did I not just Google this? It's so easy. I could just Google it. I'm guessing a similar thing happened with the Milwaukee Bucks. They maybe didn't go as far as they should have. They didn't win, obviously, or they didn't get that far. Whatever it was, right? They've lost a game, they've lost a few games, whatever it is. And the reporter asks, you didn't win this year. You didn't get a ring. You didn't get that far. Would you consider this failure, right? And as much as I dunk on reporters and journalists and whatever, they try and catch you out, try and make you slip up and stuff. Sometimes like players and stuff, they really like to go off on journalists in like the press conference room, and they get like really offended and like emotional and take things so personal sometimes. From a journalist, and like, yeah, sometimes they are like, they deserve it, and sometimes it's just like, why are you so like obsessed with why are you so emotional? Like, why can't you take criticism? Why can't you just accept the question, answer it with either a media trained bullshit question which he's not going to like as an answer because it's just something he's heard 100 times before, or b just with your own thoughts but just in a normal way. Like, it's not an insane concept which he's saying to you right now. You're a good team, or at least they usually are. I'm not sure how they're doing this season or what the team's looking like. A lot of things can change within the year, as we know. I was talking about with the Nets. Like, before I know it, they went from that team I said earlier to like having James Harden and like Blake Griffin and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving all in the same team pretty much. It didn't work really, but they had him. It's just like, what? It's just like weird. Like, you never see that. One year Crystal Palace having like Zaha, Eze, Elise, good players, whatever. But like next year having Messi and out. It's just like, what the fuck. They ask him, failure, yes or no. Just be like, yeah, we should have went further, or no, it wasn't because tough year and whatever. Instead, he does this whole like, how many times I've got to explain this point? And then he does this whole like Hollywood speech of like a slow zoom in on him as he's like talking about, if you don't get a promotion in your job, is it failure? Is it? No. Okay, well, let me explain this to you then. Not every single year goals can be met, and it doesn't automatically mean failure. It's just progression and steps forward is all that's important, and things like this, right? And it's just kind of like, firstly, the comparison is not comparable. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, in normal work, you're not like, that is such a weird thing to say. Like, sports people always say this, like, about the whole promotion thing. Like, what's the apex of your job? Like, what are you trying to achieve? You get a promotion, right? Sure, yeah. And then move on. It's like, no, like, yeah, a promotion is nice, and you get one occasionally, yeah. But it's not something like you're like gunning for every year. It's such a weird thing. People always say like, you if you're in a job, you're in a career, and you go into it, and you're like 24, you're not aiming for a promotion every year. What, until you retire when you're 70? Promotion every single year is what you're going for. Like, you're just aiming. You're just aiming to hit your targets and not get fired. It's just not comparable to elite sport. And also, there's context. If you're working a job, your goal is gonna be something like if you're working in sales, is to hit a certain amount of sales, or to like sell a certain amount of this or that, or to like I've worked no careers, only retail jobs really, like part-time shits. I'm trying to think. It's not a promotion. Like, I just think this whole, like, my parents, for example, like, it's just, when I think about the jobs they do, like, I know for a fact if I was to ask them, like, are you aim, like, is the goal of this year to get a promotion? It's not. It's like, it's just nuanced things. It's just like, no, it's just to go in every day and, like, because it's not the same as sport where it's like there is a defined direct objective of we have to win this, and also the context of that you are one of the best teams who was maybe predicted to win it, or would say to have at least a good shot at winning it. No one's going to walk in the press conference and sit down with David Moyes and say, David Moyes, you didn't win the league this year. Failure? He's going to say, no, we're West Ham United. But if you walk into a room with Pep Guardiola and say, Pep, you didn't win the league this year. Failure? It's a fair question because they was predicted to win the league, or they're at least in the conversation. Obviously, City aren't just at least in the conversation, they're predicted to win the league. But like, at the start of the season anyway, you'd say so. You could ask Klopp that right now because Liverpool aren't around the top. Well, they're not. They've been really challenging. They said a bad year, but at the beginning of the season, you'd obviously put them in the conversation to be winning it, right? So now it's a fair enough question to ask Klopp, is it failure? Now, I don't believe Klopp would answer it and say, yeah, it was failure, that we didn't win the league. He'd probably say something nuanced as well. But the whole comparison thing to the job thing and reporter thing, Klopp was the type of guy who'd get annoyed and get personal with a reporter as well, about that type of question. In reality, well, firstly, like, speaking openly and truthfully is not the problem. And if that's your opinion, that's fine. I don't agree with it, but it's fine. It's more just the emotional reaction, the comparison that's not comparable and doesn't make sense. It's just that it's not the same thing. Getting paid. I hate this whole thing. Always having to go back to money, but it's true. Getting paid millions of pounds to play a sport with the one goal of win as many games so you can get to the playoffs and then win it, right? It's very, and then to be like, no, it's not fail. It's like, well, do you not, like, that would piss people. If Harry Kane said that after we lost the Euros in the final, like, and gave that whole thing, it'd be like, people would go at him like losers mentality. Like, do you not want to, you know what I mean? These things you got to say sometimes that you don't really believe in, because it's like, we can't show, you don't want to admit to we failed, right? But everyone can, it doesn't really matter what he says. I don't know. I think especially like, he gave this sports people in general, from what I've seen, mainly in football, and from what I've seen a little inside and out basketball, just so emotional and defensive. That's one thing I really like about Formula One. It feels so honest. Like today, George Russell and Verstappen just having some big old argument about taking the inside, and they're there to win. And like, so many of them fully believe if you're not first, you're last, and second's the first loser, and these things like that. And they're competitive, and they believe that, and they hold themselves accountable a lot of the time. In the car, they won't. They'll blame on everyone else, but sometimes they'll step out and they'll just be like, that was shit. We're not good enough. We're bad. We're crap. We failed. We need to do better next year. We need to keep moving forward, right? Footballers and whatever basketball players, sometimes you ask them a question because, like, you keep losing games. This is a terrible season, isn't it? And to snap and get so defensive just shows that, like, these people are just kept in like a bubble where it's like they like have this thing about them where it's like, no one gets it. You guys aren't athletes. You don't know what it's like every day. And it's like, we don't, but you're also not fans and viewers and just normal people. You don't get what that's like watching it from the outside. Like, you intake sport in a completely different way because you're in the sport. And they're like, oh, these, like, the way the whole head and hands, like, oh my god, these normies who just don't understand the complexities of sport. And it's just like, no, it's actually very simple. You underperformed. Failure's involved in that, and you're defensive about it because you're wrapped up in some bubble where everyone tells you this and that. And especially in America, where they have this whole, like, it's all Hollywood. It's all like long speeches that sound good, and he was kind of given one of those. But realistically, if you break it down, it just wasn't that hot. I don't know. I somehow spoke 15 minutes. Wow, that's crazy. But no, I just think And also in that kind of scenario, when you're in a press conference where it's like they're in a place where they have to ask you a question, a pre-approved question, and a question which is like 2 sentences long, and then you're allowed to give an answer as long as you want. And this isn't a conversation. There's no like I'm allowed to now chat back and be like, well, actually, or jumping at points. It's more just like, now I just got to let you have your answer and move on. Next person gets to ask, and you feel like you've won this in some way because whatever. But like, I don't know how they're doing in the season, but ultimately, and I get it. You can't win every year. City have won the league like 4 out of the last 5 years, whatever. While my nose looks red, 4 out of the last 5 years, whatever, and they're probably going to win again or whatever. But you know, with the amount of money they spend, and how good the team is, how good the manager is, and all this other stuff, if you don't win the league, yes, you can't win forever. Yes, there's going to be a lull. Yes, things will happen. Yes, there'll be injuries. Yes, there'll be things that prevented you maybe or hurdles along the way. But it really is as simple as, and there's context, of course, and there's nuances and there's things here and there, but it really is as simple as you set goals at the beginning of the league, and if you don't win the league, if you don't finish top 4, if you do get relegated, you have failed at those goals, and there might be things that led to that as out of your control, but you failed, and it's simple as that. It's cutthroat, it's sport, and they like to pick and choose when they want to talk about how sport is cutthroat, when it best suits them and makes them best look good. But you didn't succeed. Did you succeed this year? How about that? You don't want to say you failed. Okay, cool. That one hurt your ego a bit too much. Did you succeed? Personally, maybe. Did you succeed as a team? Honest with yourself, what did you set out to do at the beginning of the season? Did you succeed in that? No, sir. That's fine. That's fucking fine. But don't go off on me about it. Don't make up this shithole little fucking thing about it. It's weird. But most sports people are like this. And, you know, that's fine. That's a fair trade-off, you know. I guess no one's perfect. But we all got to work it. Great words for Hannah Montana. This was 1, 2, 8. Soon 1, 2, 9.
With the kids, and have like 3 kids, and the geezer was probably on like maximum 20 bags a year. Like the most boring bloke you'll ever meet. Like,